The Mindful Life Practice.
What it is it's 30 minutes-ish of vinyasa and 30 minutes of yin. And the reason why I changed the name actually was because I met Melanie, who guest taught for us for a week, and then she just had too much happening in her life to continue. She was amazing. But she called it Vin Yin, which made way more sense to me because Vin is like the active part of yoga and Yin is the chilled part of yoga. And if you put it in that order, Vin and Yin, it's actually what the class entails. Whereas Yin and Yang, you know, Yin is the chill and Yang is the active. Anyway, so it now has this rename, Vin and Yin, which I think is quite a cool name. And so what our practice will look like, we're gonna move through a vinyasa flow at the beginning. It will be probably not anything crazy intense, but just like some nice movement. And then we will drop into our yin postures towards the end. So holding shapes for 3 to 5 minutes. For yin, it's nice to have a pillow around just to support yourself. I think that's the only prop we're gonna use today. And we're gonna start our practice in a child's pose. So for those of you that are just joining, this is not an Ashtanga class. Sorry if you thought that's what it was. Come onto the mat with your either knees together or knees apart. Sit your hips back onto your heels. And then just rest your forehead and rest your body down. Something that I have been working on in my personal life is finding a balance. I think a lot of us have been faced with this challenge of our home lives being integrated with our work lives right now. It's all kind of blended into one. And something I have personally been struggling with is finding a balance and finding the middle of, you know, showing up fully in my full-time job and then this job, and also taking time for myself. And a theme that's kind of encompassed this week, and I've really been connecting to it, is this idea of loving kindness. We practice loving kindness towards ourselves when we show up for our yoga practice. We practice loving kindness towards others in the ways that we're, you know, participating in the world right now, in this time. So we're gonna have a practice today that's gonna be kind of geared around opening the hearts and hips, and the intention is going to be just taking care of you, inspired by a theme from Lujan earlier today, but also just showing up and being loving, kind to yourself. So if you want to set an intention before we move around this theme, it could even be something as simple as, I am enough. I am good enough. Or if something else speaks to you, it could be, I love myself. I am loving. Take one more round of breath in your child's pose. And then we are going to move on our breath. So on your next inhale, coming all the way up into a tabletop. And then on your exhale, coming back into a child's pose. Move with this rhythm, inhaling. And then exhaling. 2 more rounds, breath in. And then breath out. One more round, inhale. And then exhale. This time, inhale, come all the way up into your table. And then just exhale to stay. And when you take a breath in, you're gonna lift into your cow, so lift your chin. And then exhale, curl the spine, tuck the chin. This is your cat. Let's take a few more rounds of breath. 2. And then 1. And then bring yourself all the way back in through center, and let's just C-curve through the spine. So gaze over the right shoulder towards the right hip. And then come all the way back, and then gaze the opposite way. It's almost like a dog kind of looking for his tail. Let's take one more of each side. And then come all the way back through center. Thread your right palm so that it is flipped over and face up, if that's okay for your wrist. Just kind of getting a stretch through the right wrist crease. And then let's flip it the opposite way. So land the right palm, thread the left palm face up. Come all the way back, land the left palm. Let's tuck our toes and lift all the way up into the down dog. And then bend through the knees, just kind of pressing through the heels, getting into a calf stretch. Wow, I am so thankful for Jillian today, by the way. Just want to give you a shout out. Jillian helps with technical issues when I'm teaching yoga so that I don't have to deal with them. And I'm looking over and seeing my phone lighting up from people that were confused. So thank you, Jillian, for taking care of that. Really appreciate it. Come all the way back into your down dog. And then let's take a breath in, ripple like a wave forward into a plank. And then exhale, come all the way back into your down dog. Taking 2 more, inhale. Exhale. And then 1 more inhale. 1 more exhale. And then take a breath in, come all the way forward into a plank. You can wiggle your feet back a little bit to find length. And what you're gonna do is land your right elbow and then land your left elbow and find yourself into a forearm plank, navel engaged. Hold on here for 3, for 2. And then for 1, I want you to soften your hips and then expand through your heart and breathe into your heart space, finding yourself in this Sphinx with your gaze settling. And then slowly lower all the way down. Take your palms wide on the mat, be on the fingertips. Breathe in, lift your heart up so your elbows are pointing up. And then exhale, send the heart forward. Taking 3 more. Exhale, lower. 2 more. One more. Take your palms back onto the mat. Push up through a plank, coming all the way back up to a down dog. And then bend through both of the knees, take the gaze forward, and then just step the feet up to meet the hands. Take an inhale, halfway lift. Take an exhale, fold, and then find yourself in a forward fold. I'm gonna give you guys an option here. You can just take a basic forward fold, gripping your palms to the elbows, this cat. Or you might try something new. You're gonna wrap your arms around the backs of your calves. Use this connection to dig you closer into this forward fold, and then maybe thread your right palm, place it on your left shin, and then thread your left palm, place it on your right shin, and then take a breath in. And then exhale, forward fold. Let your head and neck go and kind of empty out whatever is on your mind. Just release it, let it go. Release your grip, take an inhale, halfway lift, and then exhale, fold, and then bend through your knees and sit back, find yourself into a chair. Oh, even more people oh my God, I just was about to say annoyed. I was meant to say even more people joined. And it's so awesome to see such a big group of yogis. I'm glad to see you're off your boss, Lindsay. You're back with us. Take two. And then on one, you're gonna forward fold. Take an inhale, halfway lift. Take an exhale, lower back down. Leave your right foot where it is. Step your left foot all the way back on the mat, and you're just gonna rock forward and back. And then eventually you're gonna land onto your left knee. Take an inhale, reach your arms up towards the sky. And as you exhale, sweep your arms forward. Then two more, breath in. Breath out. Let's take one more breath in. And then breath out, sweep your arms all the way back. Now interlace your palms at the base of the spine. Press your palms together as you lift your heart up, and you're coming into a little bit of a back bend. So your chest is kind of expanding forward and your chin is tucked. And then release that grip, send your arms up towards the sky. I'm so sorry if you guys can hear my cat. Exhale, take the palms forward. Leave your left palm on the mat now, and then inhale your right arm up towards the sky. Exhale, take it back down. So you might have noticed now Princess does not have a bell. We're gonna keep moving, inhaling, and then exhaling. The reason why is I took off her bell because she was really disrupting when me and Yasmin were recording our first episode of the Mindful Life Practice podcast, which is coming out soon. Last one, take your right palm back down. Anyway, we're gonna walk our fingers back, lengthen through the leg, and then hinge your heart forward. It's probably why Laura can't have a pet at home. Trying to do her work from home. Laura works on the radio. Maybe they're just used to having pets and people at home in the background. I don't know. Take one more breath. These are weird times we're living in. We're gonna walk our palms back, tuck our left toes and lift our left knee. And then you're gonna spiral your right arm up towards the sky. Take a big twist. And we're gonna move our body into a side plank. So you're gonna get really strong for your left palm, wiggle, roll onto the outer edge of the left foot, take your right foot back. If you're okay with feet stacked, do it, or you can just keep your right foot like this, or you can stagger them, whatever. I want you to just kind of hammock your hip down towards the mat and then lift the hip back up. Let's take 3 more. 2 more. And then 1 more. And then land your right palm back down and then move through a flow, a vinyasa flow. And then come all the way back up to a down dog and breathe in. And then breathe out. 1 more breath in. 1 more breath out. And then bend through the knees, gaze forward. Step your feet up to meet your hands. Take an inhale, halfway lift. And then take an exhale, fold. Bend through the knees, sit back, find your chair. So I have to tell you, when I first started yoga many, many years ago, I went to a yoga studio where they had mirrors in the front of the studio, at the front of the room. Take one more breath and then exhale, fold. And one of the problems with the mirrors, inhale, halfway lift, exhale, come all the way down, and then leave your left foot forward, step your right foot back, rock back and forth. So one of the problems with the mirrors is that I kind of use it as an opportunity to like tear myself apart. Like I would come into the room and be looking at myself in the mirror and looking at everyone else in the mirror and just kind of judging all of my flaws. And I think that's kind of one of the opposite purposes of yoga. Take one more breath and then land onto your right knee. And let's move with our breath, inhaling, opening up. And then exhale, sweeping back. So many of us are like our worst critics, right? We're judging our physical appearance. We're judging the mistakes that we make. Why did I do that thing? Why did I say that thing? And can we make this practice today? Like, what if we make it all about loving ourselves, not criticizing ourselves? What do you mean, princess? Oh my God. One more breath. And then sweep your arms back, interlace the palm. Let me take this thing out of her mouth. Get that back to me. It's my hair tie. That's why I don't have any hair ties. We always leave them on the couch. Okay, loving kindness towards the cat. She means well. Loving kindness, loving kindness. Take one more breath. And then reach your arms all the way up. And then frame the foot. Who am I kidding? I have so much loving kindness for that animal. Let's take our left arm up towards the sky. And then exhale, send it back. What would it be like if we devoted this practice to just acknowledging how amazing our bodies are, how our arms move us through the air, how our legs hold us up? Take one more breath into your twist. And then take the left palm back down. Let's walk the fingertips back, lengthen over the left leg. I love this body for allowing me to practice yoga. I love this mind, even though it's troubled at times. Loving kindness towards the self. Take one more breath. And then walk your palms forward. Anchor through your right palm, tuck your right toes, lift your right knee, sweep your left arm up towards the sky, and let's roll onto the outer edge of the right foot, taking the left foot back, and then get ready for those hip dips, dipping the hip down, and then taking it all the way back up. Two more. And then one more. And then take your left palm all the way back down. Let's move through a vinyasa flow. And then bring ourselves all the way up to our down dog. And take 5 breaths in total stillness. Letting go of movement, receiving stillness. Letting go of what effort you can let go of, receiving ease. And then bend through the knees, gaze forward, step your feet up to meet your hands. Take another inhale, halfway lift. Take an exhale, fold. We're gonna chill out in a fold one more time. Again, you can choose your favorite option, and if you wanna come with me on that bind, we're gonna wrap our arms around the backs of our legs and then send our right and our left palm forward, gripping onto the shins and then hinge forward. something that I struggle with when I'm in low times, and I don't even notice that I'm doing it, is I can get in my head, and this inner critic can be saying to myself, like, I'm a bad person. I don't know why. And sometimes it's so, like, you don't even notice it's there, right? You don't even realize your thoughts are there, and your thoughts are shaping your reality. So when I was coming into those yoga classes and looking in the mirror and thinking, like, you know, I don't like the way my body looks, I just wasn't even aware that that was, you know, my thoughts, that I was shaping my reality, and they were shaping my experience in that room. And we have the power to kind of reframe those thoughts. Let's release our palms, come back into a forward fold, inhale, halfway lift, exhale, fold, and then bend through the knees, sit back into a chair. So something I have worked on is actively saying, I am a good person. That's something I've worked on over the years. Actively saying it to myself. It sounds stupid, but it works. So if you have an inner critic saying to you, I'm not good at yoga, or I'm not good at this pose, how can you reframe that? How can you make it a loving and kind thought? Take one more breath in your chair. We got this. Exhale, fold. We're just gonna do one more standing flow, I promise. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale your way back down, plant the palms, feel your body moving you back. Appreciate everything it's doing for you to move through and experience this practice. And then take your right leg up towards the sky, three-legged dog. Bend through the right knee, stack the hips. If coming into your wild thing is something you feel open for right now, you feel ready, be careful and mindful, but ripple your heart forward into a plank. See if you can bend the knee and lower down, and then flip, and then lift your heart, expand towards the sky. Take 3, take 2, and then take 1. Come all the way forward. Take your right knee into your chest. Hold for 3. We got this. 2, and then 1. We're just gonna do a simple standing flow, I promise. Man, I said to you guys half an hour ago, I was like, it's gonna be easy, it's gonna be gentle. I promise. Last thing, inhale up. Land into your warrior 2. And then let's move like water and see if we can end like fire. So inhaling water and then land like fire in the reverse. And then exhale, extended side angle. 3 more times, breath in. And then breath out. 2 more, breath in. And then breath out. 1 more inhale. 1 more exhale. Come all the way up to your warrior 2. Lengthen through your right leg. Walk your foot in a tiny bit. Hinge forward. Take your right arm alongside your right leg. Lift your left arm up towards the sky. Shift weight onto your right foot, right fingertips. Lift your left leg up. Bring yourself into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. Hold for 3 breaths. And then step your left foot all the way back. Both fingertips are on the mat again. We're gonna take 1 more side plank, okay? So your left palm stays grounded. Your right palm reaches up towards the sky. Roll onto the left foot. Step the right foot all the way back. Take 3. Take 2. And then on 1, you're gonna land your right palm and then flow through a vinyasa 1 more time. Okay, take 3 deep breaths. Let your spine realign in your down dog. And then lift your left leg up towards the sky, three-legged dog. Bend through your left knee, stack your hips. Maybe you take your body all the way forward, land onto the outer edge of the right foot, lift your heart up towards the sky, hold on for 3, hold on for 2, and then on 1, you're gonna take your left knee in, again, 3, 2, and then 1, step your left foot forward, land onto your right heel, come all the way up into a warrior 2. Yeah, you got it. So long, low lunge. And let's move like water and like fire. Inhaling, revert. Exhaling, extended side angle. 3 more, and please let your own breath guide you. Don't worry about the pace that anyone else is moving at. We are all different. We all breathe at different paces. A pace feels different in every body. And part of practicing loving kindness is like getting in tune with and coming home to that. Come all the way back up to your warrior 2. Lengthen through your left leg. Walk your right foot in a tiny bit. Hinge forward. Take your left arm alongside your left leg. Find your triangle. And then maybe shift weight onto your left foot, your left fingertips, find your half moon. Now, in my experience, balancing poses are the ones where we judge ourselves the most. You know, I used to get so embarrassed when I fell, which I realize now is like so dumb. No one else is looking around the room judging you for falling. You feel like all eyes are on you when everyone else is just feeling their own practice, right? Step all the way back, so just know it's okay to fall. Land your palms on the mat. We're taking 1 more side plank, taking our left arm up towards the sky, rolling onto the outer edge of the right foot, stepping the left foot back, holding here for 3, for 2, and then for 1, and landing your left palm, moving through a vinyasa. I think we're ready to switch into our yin, are we? Yeah, it's time. So let's take 3 more breaths in down dog. And then land your knees onto your mat. Untuck your toes. Sit your hips back. Rest your forehead. And we're gonna use this child's pose as a transition. So check in with yourself. We've been flowing and moving for about maybe 25 minutes. How are you feeling now compared to at the start of your practice? How is your practice loving and kind towards you? That's why we're here. Loving and kind towards you. Take a couple more breaths. I think what we'll do today, we'll spend a little time doing hip opening, and then we're going to take a bit of heart opening. So slowly bring yourself, you can even come just up into seated. The first pose that we're going to take is going to be, we're going to do lizard and then pigeon on both sides, okay? So walking your body all the way forward. You can step your right foot so that it comes onto the outer edge the outside of both palms. Okay, so your right foot is wide, and then you're on the left knee. And then you can decide what to do with your right hands, your both hands. You can be on your hands. You can maybe come down onto the elbows. From the hands on the elbows, if you want to come into a quad stretch, being mindful that we are going to be here for 3 minutes, so don't go too crazy. But if you do want to go into a quad stretch, you might kick your left heel back and take your right palm towards that foot, maybe. Super important in yin. I don't know if you guys have all practiced yin with me before, but there's a few kind of rules. The first is that you find your edge. Okay, this is loving kindness. If you push yourself back past your edge, you are going to injure yourself. If you play yourself too small, then you're not going to see progress. So you need to find your personal edge and be okay with the fact that it's going to look different from everyone else's. Right? So some people might be down on their elbows. Maybe they've been doing yoga for a million years. Maybe they've done yoga 4 times a day for the past 60 days. If that's not you, don't worry about it. Find your edge. The second principle of yin is to commit to stillness. Okay, so we will be here for about 3 minutes. So commit to staying in that shape the whole time. And then the third principle, the second is to stay a while. The third is to commit to stillness. So the second is to stay in the pose for 3 minutes. And what commit to stillness means is that you're not fidgeting. So you're not checking your phone if you don't have to. I mean, sometimes there are times when even I have to do work on the mat, waiting for an important text or call. That's okay. But if you are able to disconnect, then try to do so. Try to avoid the tendencies to kind of wiggle. And part of this practice is sort of facing whatever discomfort comes up. Stay for 3 more breaths. And then if you have that back foot, we're just going to release it. Come up onto the palms. Typically when I teach yin classes, we have a rebound between the poses. And I think we're going to skip over the rebounds in our Vin and Yin just because our yin time is more shortened. So we're going to move directly into the next pose, which is a pigeon stretch. And if you need to do any little movements between sides, go ahead, be my guest. So pigeon in yin, it's actually called sleeping swan. And you're going to take your right shin across the width of the mat. And then you can support yourself either with like a pillow underneath your butt. You can have a pillow underneath the forehead. And then come all the way forward. If you're having pain in your knee, there's a couple of options. You can bend through your left knee. I don't know if you guys can see me, but you can have it bent instead of straight behind you. That also works. Or you can come onto your back and thread the needle. So why do the yoga poses have different names in yin? Are they trying to confuse us? I'll tell you why. It's because the posture might be the same, but the intention behind doing it is completely different. So in yang classes, we're there to kind of build heat, build fire, build tapas, push ourselves. And in yin, we're trying to tap into the parasympathetic nervous system and really relax and let the pose just gradually do its work. So the poses have different names in yin and yang. And you'll hear me probably confuse them all the time. And the reason why is because I am someone that comes from a hot power yoga background. That's how I found yoga, and that's how I became teaching yoga. In my first few years of teaching yoga, I actually didn't teach any classes like this. Nothing with stillness, nothing with long holds. All we did was like super sweaty flows. And what I've learned over time is the types of classes that you avoid are the types that you need the most. So if you're a person that always goes to those hot classes or those active classes, maybe wonder why. What is it about one type of class that always pulls me in? Let's take one more breath. And then lift up onto the palms. And then come back into our table. And I'll give you guys a minute between sides to kind of do whatever feels good. So now as I'm talking about the whole, vinyasa versus yin, I realized that this is like the ultimate class. Maybe that's why we have so many people here, because it speaks to all of our interests and it gives us that balance, right? If you're a vinyasa person, you're getting some yin. And if you're a yin person, you're getting some vinyasa. And at the end of the day, these two types of yoga just complement each other. They give you a little bit of what you want and a little bit of what you need. And then when you're ready, prepare your body for the opposite side. So we're starting first with our lizard, which is actually called dragon in yin. By the way, it doesn't really matter. Left foot forward if you want to get technical. Shift your right knee back. And then decide if you want to be on the elbows or the hands. And then maybe grab onto that foot. I'm just going to get my sweater. I'm feeling cold again. Actually, on the subject of poses having different names, I'm working right now on preparing a yoga teacher training manual for the mindful life practice. And I came across a really interesting article today when doing research about the use of Sanskrit. It was saying, why use Sanskrit? And Sanskrit is like the language of yoga, right? Words like Trikonasana or Ardha Chandrasana, that's all Sanskrit. And it's a super interesting debate because on the one hand, it's like feels a little bit like cultural appropriation, right? We're taking from a culture that's not ours. But what this article pointed out is that in the English language, there's like a million different names for yoga poses, right? Like how many people have heard forward fold being called ragdoll, waterfall? Waterfall I've also heard is called dead bug. Anyway, this article pointed out that in Sanskrit, there's only one name for each pose, right? Trikonasana. There's no other names for triangle in Sanskrit. And it was just a really interesting thing that kind of spoke to me. Why do we use Sanskrit? And one reason might be universality, so that we're not confusing pigeon and swan and dragon and lizard and whatever. Anyway, just a total tangent. We're here for one more minute. I think I'm good at those tangents, distracting you guys. Give yourself 5 more breaths. And 5. And then come all the way up, landing onto the palms. If you need to move at all, go ahead. And then when you're ready, preparing yourself for your sleeping swan or your pigeon on the left side. So wiggling your left shin across the width of the mat, supporting yourself in whatever way you need to. And then just kind of resting. So we started this practice with an intention of being loving and kind to ourselves. I want to explain to you a little bit about this loving kindness meditation. So some of you have been with me in this practice. We do it once a week. Basically, the intention behind it is to kind of build a circle of loving kindness. And we start with ourselves. We kind of radiate ourselves in loving kindness. And the reason for that is because we are so deeply connected to the universe. Right? Our loving kindness practice cannot be loving and kind if it doesn't include ourselves. And then once we've kind of felt secure and confident there, then we expand. We give loving kindness to some of our loved ones. And then we expand. And we wish it towards people we don't even know, like the lady in the grocery store, the security guard in the building, the construction worker you see on the road. Here for one more minute. And then we further expand our loving kindness. We direct it towards people we might be having disagreements with, people we might not get along with. And then we further expand our loving kindness to encompass all beings, the sick, the struggling, the hungry, all beings everywhere. Take one more round of breath in this pigeon. And then come all the way up into a table. And then if there's any little movements you need to take, go ahead. And so we're going to take our final yin pose before our shavasana. And this pose is going to be a heart opener. So I'm actually going to grab a second pillow. I should have told you guys that. To have more than one if you can. And what you're going to do is snuggle your bottom up and then lay your heart over the pillows and decide if 2 is enough, maybe 1 is enough, maybe you want to go up to 3. But basically, you just want your heart kind of opening and expanding, and it can be nice to have the back of your head supported. And then you can rest your palms on your navel or on your thighs. And so why am I telling you about the loving kindness meditation? I want to tell you about something I saw on Instagram last night. It was actually something that Jillian shared. She's here in this class. This famous Canadian actor called Dan Levy. He posted a video talking about all the people refusing to wear masks right now. All the people that are saying that masks are an infringement on their freedom. And he invited us to, instead of seeing masks as an infringement on our freedom, could we see them as a choice to be loving and kind? Right? Not only loving and kind to ourselves, but loving and kind to all the people around us who might have autoimmune disorders, who might be vulnerable to catching this illness. And I found it quite touching, this video, because it reminded me of our meditation. And I think I am someone as guilty of as anyone as complaining about having to wear a mask. Here in the UAE, it's actually against the law to leave the house without a mask on. And there's been times when I've been turned away from the mall and had to go all the way home because I've forgotten my mask. But how can you forget to wear a mask when you think of it in this way? It is the most simple way that I can be loving and kind. When I put on my mask last night walking through the mall, I just had this phrase going in my head. And it's what we repeat in our loving kindness meditation. May all beings be safe. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. Safe. Happy. Healthy. Free. So I'm gonna invite you now to choose a final resting pose. Choose the one that is most loving and kind to yourself. And it might be this pose if you're just liking it here. I often do my Shavasana in this shape, TBH. And you might come into a more traditional Shavasana with your legs extended. When my mind is feeling particularly anxious, I will often take child's pose as my Shavasana because I just find it grounding. Then another option is to join me in seated meditation. So whatever shape you choose, give yourself a little loving kindness. Remind yourself your intention, whether it was, I love myself, whether it was, I am loving towards myself, whether it was, I love my body, whatever it might have been. And rest peacefully. Knowing that I'll bring you back when the time is up. You can rush your healing. Darkness has its teaching. Love is never leaving. You can rush your healing. Your healing. Just give your fingers and your toes a little wake up wiggle. If you're on your back, I invite you to bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug, and if you want to hug yourself in seated too, that would be cool as well, whatever. In this hug, say to yourself, I love this body. I love this mind. I love this spirit. Each and every day. And slowly come back up to seated. Take your palms into your heart center. Thumbs connect to your chest. Feel your heartbeat. And maybe as you feel your heartbeat connecting into your thumb, connect your heartbeat to everyone that's shown up in this space to share in this practice, whether we're in the States, Ireland, UAE, Scotland. I think I got you all. And in that moment, our loving kindness radiates beyond us to the rest of the world. Sealing with an Om. Inhaling, exhaling, and then inhaling through to make the Om. So we'll take a breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Thank you guys so much for sharing the space and the practice. Have a lovely rest of your evening. Om Shanti Shanti. Peace. Namaste.
The Mindful Life Practice.